Okay, everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We're all here today, which is great. Just like to welcome everyone here today from all around the world. Once again, we're so excited. It's just hard to believe 8 weeks ago, an idea is now everyone here together. But I would also like to acknowledge all the First Nations people in all the countries that we're in, and all people living with dementia as well. And I think also to include all those caring and loving for people living with dementia. So who is Open the Doors? Open the Doors 2030 it was initially thought to be a quarterly international meeting. It's fortnightly. It will evolve, but we'll let you know when it's going to change from fortnightly. But at the moment, we are still fortnightly. It's a resource where we can all share best practice models and initiatives, new ones, current ones from around the world. And it doesn't matter how small or how big, they all have impact, and it doesn't matter who you are. Our website is getting closer to being available as well. And it's on that website that we will have tabs that everyone will be able to access information, whether that be around positive risk, person-centred care, rural and remote aged care support, LGBTQIA+, resources, called leadership, positive psychosocial support, and more. Essentially calling arms for all our elders, and in particular those living with dementia. So it's about giving us practical steps, hope and encouragement. And I think also it's just about sharing. It's no more working in silos. It's about connecting. I've just come back from 2 weeks in the US and got to spend time with Mary and with Angela, and just hearing how they've connected with others from attending Open the Doors really warmed my heart, because it is about us working together, because we're all in this together. So today's agenda, I'll be introducing Mary very soon. She is the president of the Mary Fridley Associates on the faculty of the Eastside Institute, a founder of the Joy of Dementia, you've got to be kidding, and coordinator of Reimagining Dementia, a creative coalition for social justice. But I'll share a little bit more about her in a moment. Aaron is going to, where's Aaron? Wave your hand, Aaron. Hiding there somewhere. He'll be facilitating our Q&A today, and Rhiannon will be introducing any next steps and any action items that may come from meeting up today. And then Nicole will wrap things up and share a little more about Alan Powell being our next speaker for next meeting. And Michael Page is on by the looks, which is great. So he's in and out now. Michael, could you say if that means you're in and ready to take over? I think I'll just keep going. I am actually going to introduce Rhiannon in first before I hand over to Mary and introduce Mary. Rhiannon and Maury have been working very hard on pulling together a new stream, I suppose, around our creatives, our caring creatives within this care. So she's got a little teaser video for us and a bit of an introduction. So Rhiannon, I'm passing over to you now.
Thanks, Monique. Yes, as Monique said, I'd like to introduce Chats with Caring Creatives. So Maury and I have been working very hard on a series of interviews where we talked with skilled creative arts practitioners who are dedicated to using the arts as an informed therapeutic tool. Our aim for these interviews is to celebrate, share, and acknowledge meaningful art practices that are making a positive difference. So we'd like to share a little bit of a teaser trailer with you now. So Sonal, if you want to hit play.
Hello, I'm here with Rhiannon Tui.
And I'm here with Maury Boise Barlin.
And we've got something to show you.
Roll the clip.
Oh, let's play.
Curiosity has to drive the boat. Stories are what connect us. If we can attach, boy, things feel a lot better in the world.
residents had the opportunity to do something like poetry and work with words, and then kind of getting a little bit naughty and everyone kind of having a bit of a, ooh, you have to be curious about who everyone is. You have to be open to their history, their life.
People living with dementia are the best teachers. They teach us so much about ourselves, about what's really important. Being in the moment allows you to forget all of those things that aren't important. People living with dementia are in that space.
Because we see the value of these art encounters. We know that they are beneficial to people's social and emotional health. Sometimes the most simple things would be most meaningful.
So join us for Chats with Caring Creatives,
where we talk to artists working in the aged care space.
Yes, so if you are someone who is working in the creative aging space and would like to share your work with us globally, please do get in touch. You can email us at otd@communityhomeaustralia.org, and we'd love to hear from you. So back over to you, Monique.
Thank you. And I've got goosebumps everywhere, and tears sitting there also. And I think that's about the fourth time I've watched that video. I'm just so excited what you and Maury have pulled together and are doing. So thank you. So Mary, so as I mentioned, Mary is the president of Mary Fridley Associates, sits on the faculty of the Eastside Institute, founder of the Joy of Dementia, you got to be kidding, and coordinator of Reimagining Dementia, a creative coalition for social justice. My path crossed with Mary a number of years ago, so I was very excited to be able to meet her and then to bring her in to open the doors, and then to have the opportunity to actually spend time with her in the US a week ago. Within Reimagining Dementia, a creative coalition for justice, it's an international group of people living with dementia, carers, care partners, family, and community members. Dementia activists and allies, health professionals, advocates, artists, academics, policymakers, and others, all sharing a vision of care and support that promotes inclusion, relationships, creativity, joy, and the possibility of growth for everyone impacted by dementia. So without further ado, Mary, the floor's yours, and let's go.
Wonderful. All right, so if we can, I'm going to say a few words, but we're going to immediately, since Monique gave the surprise away, we're going to do some playing together. So if we could get me off the screen, one, because I can't bear looking at me. And then we'll hopefully see as many people on screen as possible. But anyway, thank you. Thank you both to Nicole, to Monique, for everyone at Open the Doors for inviting me to share just a little bit about my work and passions over with all of you. And it's especially, I mean, last 40 years, I have been an activist, a culture changer, a community organizer. And those are just some of the hats I've worn. But for me, it's always a joy and an inspiration to come together with people who are not only, opening doors, and all kinds of doors. I think there's so many doors in the world we need to open. It would be impossible to name them all. But really having the courage and the passion to probably knock them down if they're not naturally opening to us. I am also, and I hopefully you'll get a sense of this through the presentation, I am a big proponent of play, particularly improvisational play and performance, which for us and for me means our capacity, our very ordinary human capacity to be both who we are and who we're becoming. I happen to think that's very important when working in dementia, not to mention life. Because in some sense, one of the ways I understand dementia, people living with, is that they are becoming other than who they were. But it's not an unusual life experience. We're always becoming. As a culture, as a society, we also have a great deal of resistance to that. We're always kind of supported to be who we are, and we have identities and ways of presenting ourselves. So nothing else. I love to shake that up because I think it just allows us to go new places and not be so bound by what is. So how many people, again, I can't see anybody, but are people on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll see this even
We've
if I
got
don't.
55 of us here, Mary.
Okay, so as long as, can everyone see everyone or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Not everyone, but you can see quite a
Okay,
number of
that's
people
fine,
on your
as long as
screen.
some people can see other people. So we're going to do a little playing. Just to give you some sense of improvisational play and what we mean by performing. I'm suspecting, and I won't ask because I can't see anybody except for a handful of people. I know some people here are familiar with improvisation. You've seen it, been part of it. Maybe you've taken a class. I think it is a wonderful life skill. I don't think it's just a technique. I think it is a way of living that I at least try to embrace on my better days. So just by way, we're going to do some very simple things. This isn't an improv class, so I will, but I'm going to give you a little lesson in what improv is. And at the heart of improv is yes and, which means that someone is offering whatever somebody is offering in the ensemble, and we are now an ensemble tonight. We are a improvisational ensemble. Whatever is offered, you accept it by saying yes, and then you build with it. You take it somewhere new. So it's different than yes, the more common ways we relate, which is either yes, but, and we all know that. You have a great idea, you're excited, you go to somebody, da, 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 and they go, that's wonderful, but I don't know. Or the equally and sometimes more upsetting no. We just say no to each other. So we really work hard in life to open that up. So we're going to play Yes, Let's, which is a kind of simplified version of Yes and. So it's basically, we're going to do it for about 30 seconds. And I need folks, well, I'm going to say Sanal, Rhiannon, Nicole, Monique, Meredith, Ray, and Gwenda. I don't usually put people on the spot, but I kind of need you to be active because you're the only people I can see, and Ray. So very simple. I'll start. So you basically say, let's brush our teeth. And the response of the group is, and we always say this in the beginning, yes, let's, excited. And then everybody brushes their teeth. Then next, I'm not going to point out people, just jump in, make another suggestion of some activity. And the only thing I ask is it be something physical that people can do in the screen. Don't, for example, say, oh, let's think about it. It's just not very dynamic. I mean, it's fine to think, but okay. So I will start, and then I really, again, people just jump in with suggestions. We'll do it very fast, and then we'll move on. All right. Yes, let's comb our hair. Yes.
Let's comb our hair.
Okay, you don't have to say what follows. Just yes, let's, and then comb your hair.
Okay.
Okay, keep going. Let's go.
Okay. Yes, let's put our arms in the air.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
keep going.
Yes,
keep
let's
going.
put our hat on our head.
Yes.
Let's put our hat on our head.
Okay, keep going.
Let's put our earrings on.
Oh,
Yes, let's
put our
earrings on.
Keep going.
Let's blow a kiss.
Yes,
Let's.
blow a kiss.
Two more. Michelle, you go.
Let's eat an apple.
Yes,
An apple.
And now with your mouth full of apple, what should we do? Final one. Melissa.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
let's take our glasses off and put them back on again.
Yes. All right, great. Give yourselves a round of applause. We always applaud. We always appreciate it. Okay, now we're going to do a fairly simple. Well, it's not simple. It's actually impossible. But The name of the game is We Made a Mistake. And so here's the deal. We're going to try to go from A to Z. So one person says A, B, C, D. However, anytime more than one person says it, or if there's any hesitation, we go, we made a mistake. So let's practice full enthusiasm. We made a mistake. Okay, so now I'm not going to start it. Rhiannon, why don't you start with A, and then people kind of jump in.
A.
B.
Okay. We made a mistake. No hesitating. I am so going to get you all not to think today. Just, you can relieve yourself of any notion of thinking. You don't have to think. So let's try it again. Quick. No hesitation, or we made a mistake. Okay. Melissa, start us off with A.
A.
B. C.
We made a mistake. We made a mistake. Somebody else.
A. B.
B.
We made a mistake.
Okay, I won't continue. We'll never get to C. But, this is an environment that welcomes mistakes. I hope we don't have to get anything right today, because there's not much right to get. Because again, performance is kind of our capacity to both who we are and who we're becoming, which is actually how we spend much of our lives. We're always becoming. However, as I said before, we tend to focus on who we are, who we're presenting, what makes us us. So, but however, we're always performing. You're performing here today. This is your Zoom workshop presentation performance. But you present very differently if you were with family, or at a place of worship, or at school, or with your best friends. So in a way, the design of this is just to make it a little bit more self-conscious, that we have the capacity to perform, and therefore we can make choices about how we want to perform in any given situation. So we're going to so I'm going to ask, or I'm going to just give you some direction. I am your ensemble director. And I would like you to, and give it your full, like Oscar-worthy, or whatever the equivalent is in other countries, performance of you. This is the most boring presentation you have ever been part of. So I want to see a full-throated presentation performance of you are just bored. So when I say curtain up, that's our ensemble performance. Curtain up. Now, come on, you give it more. Come on, bigger, bigger, bigger. I want to see boredom. Okay, I am seeing boredom. All right. Sadly, that's the one that most people do well. Okay, and this is a simple counter. Perform as if that this is, God, it's the most interesting, fascinating, amazing performance or presentation that you've ever been a part of. So again, when I start and cut it up, that's our ensemble performance. Curtain up. Yeah, get those hearts and let's come on. Bigger, bigger, bigger. I need the excitement. Right. Curtain down. Thank you. And thank you all for being a great ensemble. And we will continue as an ensemble. So we can continuously figure out how we want to perform this together. So just to say a little bit about me and the work I'm doing, and hopefully I really don't want to talk for a long time. So, but also I don't want to go rogue. But if somebody can look, if somebody has a question based on what I'm saying, and you want to ask it in, I guess, in chat or whatever the Google Meet equivalent is, do so. Somebody can kind of, and if it's immediate, like just let me know there's a question. Fine. We do not need to wait to the Q&A, because that always sounds very intimidating. Okay, so my own personal experience, and it's been my primary experience with institutional care. I mean, is through my mom, who died of late stage dementia, and I was her primary care. But for the last year or so, she was in institutional care home. And one of the moments I'll never forget is when she realized she wasn't going back to her home. And we had put up a bunch of very nice pictures in her room, because you always try to pretend like these god-awful rooms are, just like home. And she said, "Oh, those are too nice for here. I want them there when I get home." And that's when, and it just broke my heart, because I had to tell her this was where she was going to be for, the rest of her life. And she just started sobbing. And actually, even telling the story, I always get emotional, because it was, and what she said though, once she finished crying, she just very quietly said, "It wasn't supposed to be like this." And it just ripped my heart out, because she's right. Regardless of intent, we'd failed her. And just like so many of us failed so many people. And so, I resonate very much with the passions of everyone here on transforming or changing the culture of care. I think that's a given. So perhaps the question I'm kind of introducing today a bit is how. How do we do that? And that comes from experience of I was trained in social therapeutics, which is a radically humanistic and humanizing approach. It's non-diagnostic, it's group-oriented, and it utilizes play, or again, that human capacity to play and perform, to help people to grow and to develop their lives, create their lives across the lifespan. It really doesn't matter. We relate to everyone, age, race, cognitive or physical abilities, whatever. We can come together and continue to develop. And for us, development gets used a lot of ways, including within psychology. But for us, social therapeutics, development is the capacity that we all have to continuously create our lives using everything available, including, and I would say perhaps especially, if you will, the crap of life. Including all the unpleasant and upsetting things we all deal with, and a lot of the emotional pain that we often hide. That's what we can build with. And when I was a practicing therapist, I would start every new group therapy session by asking, how do we want to do this together? And then I would brace myself for the response, because it was invariably the clients in the room, the people in the room staring at me like I was crazy. Like they were just, what? And really, whether they said it or not, I think what they were saying and saying is, well, wait a minute. You're the expert. We're paying you. We're coming here. Aren't you supposed to tell us what to do? How to be, etc. It was uncomfortable. But sitting in silence is often good. Because and I think the value, and even though I'm quote not doing therapy in the clinical sense anymore, I find myself always asking this question, whether it's allowed or not, for a number of reasons, including that the question it immediately introduces that there is a we, and that we're always in a we, that there really isn't something like even if there's two people in a room, there's a we. It's really not you and me as separate and individuals, human beings. There's a we. However, we don't see we's very easily. We don't. We're highly hyper individuated culture. it also, I think, allows us to, and for me at least, and this is where I think playing is also enormously helpful. I think it allows us to discover that simply because we speak the same language or know the right lingo, professional lingo, whatever, that we mean the same thing, or that we understand at all what each other is saying. Which more often than not, simply isn't the case. And I don't think, and I include in that people who, if you will, are speaking coherently. I know there's a lot made of people living with dementia not able to make sense, but I don't think we assume sense, I think, far too often. And I think it keeps us all limited. But also, I think it just levels the playing field. And I was thinking about it because I don't think he's on, David Sheard, who presented last week. And I was just very inspired. So I think a lot of people were, by his saying what he was talking about. And I'm going to dreadfully paraphrase that. Basically, we don't need to be trained in dementia care. If anything, we need to be supported. And I think that we, particularly professionals, but I think any adult human being, to be more, well, as he said, emotional intelligence, to be more vulnerable, to bring all of that, to bring that openness into all of the contexts and environments and relationships that we're in. And I'll be the first to say it's not easy. In response to David, one of the things I said at the last meeting was that it involves, for me, and this is my language, giving up the authority of the chair. Because let's face it, when you're in that chair, even if it's not physically a chair, but if you're the expert or the pro, then you are privileged. And I'm not using that as a loaded word. We're all privileged in some way or the other. So I'm not making light of it, but I'm not really trying to focus on it. It's just that it's hard to give up. Because for a lot of reasons. One, our patients want it, or clients or whoever we're working with. They want you to be the expert or the professional or the fixer or whatever it is. Not to mention the institutions that pay us. And they do have certain requirements. So again, I'm not saying any of this because I think it's easy, but I think what I found that I very much believe we've got to break open and create dramatically different, more open, accessible, joyous, whatever you call it, humanizing environments in which it's even possible to even begin to play with how do we do that. So I don't ever believe you can just go from A to B. I think it is a process, but it's something we have to do together.
Mary, unfortunately, the time is running away from us, and I think on that note, I know we're.
Sorry, I thought I was told I had about half an hour.
Oh, it was 20 minutes. So sorry.
No, we've got 30 minutes today, Monique. We can go for another 10.
Oh, okay, great. No worries. Okay, sorry, Mary. All yours. Keep going.
That's okay. I'll pick it up a bit. Focus on, because, I think the environments that we're in have a big impact. And one of the things people living with dementia have said to me over and over and over again is, nobody's happy about having dementia, but the environments they're in, the often negative environments they're in, have a much, much, much bigger impact. That's what they respond to. But no one thrives in environments, whether it's school, family, life, that focus more, if you will, on what is than what is possible, where there's just no room for imagination or creativity or anything like that. And I was thinking about it. I just wanted to read a quick quote because I'm going to now try to rush through this a bit. But I was kind of interested because I was reading a quote from Thomas Kitwood, because I'm writing a chapter that involves him. And most people know he's kind of the father of what I guess has emerged as person-centered care. And he writes, above all else, the reconsideration of dementia invites us to a fresh understanding of what it is to be a person. The prevailing emphasis on individuality and autonomy is radically called into question, and our true interdependence comes to light. Reason is taken off the pedestal that it has occupied so unjustifiably and for so long. We reclaim our nature as sentient and social beings. So for the Institute, and if you will, our broader, what we call our international development community, actually creating an approach that has taken reason off the pedestal and really worked. All we have focused on is how do you create a new view of what it means to be human. And for us, it begins with and ends with and middles with ordinary human creativity and social relationality, and all the wonderfully unreasonable ways we in fact do always relate to each other. It's just never fully supported. And I've seen so many different kinds of people in that time, just amazingly different kinds of people come together, play together, bridge the gaps that many insisted couldn't happen. And it has been miraculous and just magical to see what they're able to do together, what we're all able to do when we play. Because again, we're never who we are. We're creating something new. We can just go different places, even if it's that much, and break out of these roles and rules and everything like that. And that was the spirit, actually, just to say a little bit, that we brought into Reimagining Dementia, a creative coalition for justice, about 4 years ago. We now have about 1,000 members in over 44 countries around the world. It came together, as saying, to creatively transform the, quote, tragedy narrative of dementia, and really to elevate this lens, this creative lens, this humanizing lens, into all aspects of dementia care and policy and education, every aspect at the broadest levels. And last year, we launched Taking It to the Streets as an international campaign. And it was really an invitation for people to creatively bring the coalition, but more importantly, that we are reimagining dementia, to ordinary people, to go out to meet them. Because as you all know, the vast majority of people impacted by dementia are never going to be in care homes. They're never going to come to our organizations. They're not going to pick up a pamphlet. They're not going to attend a session. So we want to be where they are and involve them in whatever ways they want to be in continuing to broaden this community, this movement. And it reminds me, and Rick Mountcastle and I, who I think Rick's on, and he and I have chatted. It's also an opportunity, I firmly believe, as Rick said in his presentation, we do need to take it to the streets. No social change in this country and our world has ever happened without finding a creative way to bridge our divisions, and also including divisions between care facilities and community. I mean, I was in a conversation and somebody said, most people don't even know care homes exist. I mean, they're just shunted away. So we have to break through, as we did with AIDS, as we did with disability, as we've done with so many things. We need to broaden the conversation and find genuine ways for people to come together, no matter where we are. And finally, just, and actually, I think in the doing of that, and I really, really believe that, I think that will be as curative as any pill, as any educational session, as any intervention will ever give people. I really do. It's not instead of, but that to me is what's enormously curative. And finally, I'll end just by introducing, he's a renowned play activist. He's passed away. His name is Brian Singer Smith, and he has written, "The opposite of play is not present reality or work. It's depression." And I agree. I think we are living in a seriously depressed world. And I don't mean that metaphorically. Our world is depressed. I think people don't know how to go forward. They realize our leaders are not taking us forward, but it's not as if they've been given all of these tools at a grassroots level to say, okay, we're going to create our world. We're going to create a world, a city, a community, a house that supports what we need, that allows us to grow, that allows us to do so much more. And the reason I think play is so important, I mean, it's a fun thing to do. I like to play. I like to play with all kinds of things. But also play, it doesn't merely just change us. It transforms everything, the environment, us, that relationship. And I think in that way, it's revolutionary with a very small r. Don't worry, we're not overthrowing anything at the moment. However, there are a few things that need to get overthrown. And I personally think that that's exactly what we need if we're going to creatively smash open the many, many doors, including care facilities and so many other institutions that are confining and constraining so many people. And maybe it's the way we can will allow us to unlearn what we have to unlearn, because we are going to have to unlearn some things, as painful as that can be, so that we can shift away from what Ann Basting calls the tyranny of memory toward the humanizing power of innovation, creativity, and imagination. So I'll stop there. I would love to hear, if people have questions, feel free to ask questions. And I also would just love to hear just where this took you. You don't have to agree, you don't have to disagree. It's just, what might we be able to, maybe we could go to some different places together. So let's open it up.
Well, thank you so much, Mary. And I think, Aaron, you're going to help us with the Q&A as well.
Yeah, of course.
Yes?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
Mary sort of already opened me up there, and I was going to give a little bit of a synopsis of what you were talking about. That was incredible, Mary.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So would like to pass the floor just to see if anybody has any questions out there.
I just want to say one thing before we start. Aged care, we made a mistake. So
we made a mistake. Yes,
So
we have made a lot of mistakes.
Yes.
Yes,
So yeah, as Aaron said, open the floor. Let's discuss how we felt about Mary's discussion. It's quite group
This
today.
one, raise button down the bottom. Gwenda, yep.
I'm going to kick it off. I don't like a they, them. It's time to change that language.
You don't like what?
They, them. People living with dementia are not a different race.
Yes.
We need to use more inclusive language. I think it's really alienating using the they, the them.
Michael does a lot of work on the they, them.
I agree.
I know.
Actually, I think amongst other things, it's just at a human level, dismissive and dehumanizing. I mean, just no one likes to be related to as if, you're a mysterious species. But honestly, I also think at some level are doing that. And I don't mean the ordinary ways we ordinarily can say the wrong thing. I'm not the word police. I don't believe in that. I think you can respectfully ask someone to relate to you differently, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm really talking about because in a way, what I was attempting to share is, in some sense, my focus and my view and our view is on the world. Because contrary to how it's often talked about, people living with, and all of us are in the same world. We're not strange people. We're in this world together. And I think this supports what you're saying, Gwenda. The other thing that drives me mad, and I think people do it for the best of intentions, but they'll often say things like, oh, I'm going to enter that person's world. And I genuinely, I get it, because we all walk around as if we're the center of the world. So, and we're all in our own worlds in that sense. But really, we're all in the same world. We're in this together. And to your point, Nicole, that's why I think the mistake is so important. Not because of the mistake, but it's the we. We're responsible for creating this. And then, so we're responsible for uncreating it, for reshaping it. And because it then allows you to ask a slightly different question, which is, okay, if we're all in this together and we're already connected, how do we move forward and create environments in which whatever people have to give, I don't care if it's coherent or not, I don't care if it makes sense, can be used to create new kinds of environments. And I think one of the most dehumanizing things, is that we aren't generally, and I think particularly people living with dementia, but a lot of people in the world, aren't related to as co-creators. We can be related to as consumers. We can be related to as objects of care. We can be related to whatever, but we're rarely seriously, genuinely related to as, okay, we're all going to co-create whatever environment we find ourselves in. So I appreciate you saying that, Glenda. Rick and somebody else, I think. But.
Rick and Vicky, I think.
Yeah, Vicky, I think Vicky was first. Go ahead,
Okay,
Vicky. I will
Vicky.
defer to you.
Okay, Vicky.
Thank you, Rick. Interesting. I mean, I'm quite prolific on LinkedIn around having fun, Mary, and I think we lose sight of everything and we make everything a therapeutic activity. Has to have a therapeutic outcome with it. I'm a voracious Lego builder. Why can't I just build Lego for the fun of it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why?
No.
Why can't I have my fidget cubes for the fun of it? Why can't I chew bubblegum because I enjoy it?
Oh my God.
The why?
Agree. I mean, as a therapist and a community builder, I would often say, like, and I really mean this. Nothing that we do, we live in such a pointed world that everything has to have a point. Everything has to have a meaning. Well, fine. But again, that opens up a whole lot of questions, including, well, who or what is determining the meaning? We aren't, because if we could just be having a lot of fun and in doing that grow. Because what we've discovered is it's in the creating of those environments, those fun, playful, pointless environments, that actually people do grow, connect in new ways. So I am supporting you 100%. Brava. Have fun. Rick.
So, on the question of othering people, it's they versus us, and beyond the language, there's a public attitude, right? It's public perception and public attitude that does that regardless of what people say. And so what I look for is, how do we go about changing how the public views people with dementia? And dementia, even that word itself, has this sort of negative connotation. Maybe we got to start thinking of it as something else. And so that's what I'm looking at. And I want to also say bravo to Open the Doors. What you've already done is that you connected me to Mary, and Susie Singer Carter and I to Mary. And that connection, we've been talking about how we're going to work together to change public perception, particularly in the elder care and long-term care community in the United States. And we've also connected with Alan Power and other venues, but it's great to see him here as well. So what you guys have done on this international basis is already started putting pieces together to move forward. So I give you a standing ovation for that. But yeah, I think changing public attitudes to me is very important. Thank you.
I agree.
And Rick,
and I know this will be my final comments because I know we have to move on. I agree 100%, Rick. Here's a friendly addendum, because I don't care about changing people's minds. We hold on to, people will have the attitudes they have. What I do believe in and see works is bringing people together to create something new. And in that process, we can use all that stuff because people talk about changing language, but what the frick language wouldn't we use? We've all grown up with crap. So suddenly we're supposed to have the right. So I absolutely support the spirit. And again, it might just be how, because I think and this was very important to us with the coalition. People didn't have to have the right attitude or way of looking at talking about dementia to be a part of it. If they wanted to create something new, if they wanted to be part of change, they were welcome. I don't other people for that reason. And the other is that quick thing, because it was inspired by bingo and all that. I think all those things are fine. They're fine. I'm not against games. However, the play that I'm talking about isn't the games, those rule-governed games that we are. In a way, it's are creating our play so that it's non-rule governed, so that it doesn't have too much closer to what Vicki was saying, and that we're creating it. We're not waiting for people to bring us things to have fun. I think that's because existing institutions, that's not what they're there for. So in a way, you and I spoke a little bit about this, Rick. It's unfair to expect it. That's not their design. It's sadly, or I think happen to be good, it's in our hands. So in a way, we're offering some ways for us at the grassroots to start playing together in ways that open up our humanity and allow us to grow. So I just want to make that distinction. Again, I'm all in support. People want to play games, but they don't have to have a point. You can make up new rules, which drives me. That's why I stopped golfing. I just said, oh God, I don't care about this freaking rules. Let me just hit the ball and walk. Who cares? I'm not going to ever enter the US Open. I mean, it's silly. I can't bear rules in that regard, but that's me. Also, finally, if I know people are talking about a lot of books, I highly recommend a book that was written by the director of the Eastside Institute, Lois Holtzman, who's a remarkable woman. I urge everyone to get to know her better, and hopefully we'll send out some resources. But there's a book called The End of Knowing, How Our Obsession with Being, let's see. No, sorry. The book is called The Overweight Brain, How Our Obsession with Knowing Has Kept Us from Becoming Smart Enough to Create a New World. It just will turn everything you think about, and it is such an it's a creative and just brilliant, and I think wonderful and easy to read kind of guide to creating what we call non-knowing growing environments. And that's particularly valuable in the dementia arena. And somebody says, what is there to know? Like, to me, if we're going to function as knowers in that capital K sense, I don't know how much we can do, because it's not a situation where knowing is all that valuable. I think you have to open up to.
I must say, I train nurses how to play at Club Kalina, and they struggle when they're on placement. And I tell them, I promise you, you will have better clinical outcomes not wearing uniform, kicking a ball, going to lunch together, doing your nails even. You will know more about that person than doing task, because you'll love them and you'll bond with them, and you will get a speech pathologist, and then you'll get the physio, and then you'll make sure the diet is right. And I know people all the time, but but I'm a clinical person. I'm like, this is clinical. This is absolutely clinical. So it's about retraining what they think nursing and healthcare looks like for an even better outcome. But that takes the unknowing, as you talked about just then.
I agree.
Rick, before we go, could you just quickly announce your watch party? I just really want you to get that out. That's upcoming. We're going to put it obviously in the recommendations, but you have something coming up for your new doco series soon that I saw floating around on LinkedIn.
Right. Okay. So we've got a watch party scheduled for July 23rd. With Healthcare Reinvention Collaborative, which is a US-based organization looking to reinvent or reform healthcare. So that's on July 23rd, and I can share a link to that. We're also proposing a watch party for OTD. And so I think we're still working through that.
We are.
The details on that.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a 25-minute sizzle reel, which previews our documentary, No Country for Old People, which is basically an expose of the nursing home industry in the United States. And we are nearing the completion of that, and we're right now talking to different people about distribution. So as part of, so we want to have a watch party to generate buzz, to help us raise funds to reach the finish line. We're just almost there, and to prepare and to start talking about how we're going to go forward with changing the system that is hurting people. And to me, and I view the reason I'm very much attuned to changing the attitudes of people that don't work in this space, that don't know what's really going on, is because we have so much opposition, political opposition and financial opposition to any kind of change in a system in which we have people that are suffering even as we speak. And so my involvement in this is to try to find a way to eliminate suffering that happens in these facilities on a hourly, if not more often basis. And we've got to change the system to do that. And so we're trying to gather people together as we're going to the finish line through the watch party and other, reaching out to folks, and we're looking at what kind of events we're going to have around before, during, and after the release of the documentary. Hopefully later on this year.
Well, thank you, Rick. We will keep everyone posted in OTD as well. I'm just going to wrap up with saying I just loved having Mary Fridley here today. The creative spin on having one of these meetings is so what we need to break down our own walls to keep moving forward in this space, because if we don't act outside our comfort zones as practitioners, we're never going to invite and inspire other people to do the same. So be silly, be creative. Thank you so much for the reminder of the work you do. I loved what you say, that who we are and who we are becoming. So we're always becoming. And I'm becoming something in this journey, and Aaron's becoming something. So it's just so fabulous to be reminded of that. I think you'd also love the work of a lady called Gaynor MacDonald, who unfortunately passed away last year. It really reminded me of what she wrote about from the view of an anthropologist. So nothing to do with dementia. Her husband died. She became an academic in dementia care. I will attach that article. It's a little bit heavy, but what she talks about is the future. It's almost person-centered care reinvented. It's relationship-centered care. Who am I in a group? Who am I unless I'm with other people? And how do you hold me in esteem as I decline from that group? How am I brought back, included and celebrated, even with a reduced cognitive capacity? I love her work. I will attach it. And it really, really reminded me of the work that you're doing as well. And flow theory from Juliet. Thank you so much. We'll attach some more on the flow theory and any other little diamonds that have come up on the side. But a big round of applause to Mary, and a big thank you for the work you've been doing for 4 decades and for being with us today. Thank you so much. Also, I would just like to announce that one of my favourite humans, I'm not shy about it, is speaking next fortnight, Dr. Alan Power. He was so kind to mentor me 7 years ago when I was doing my master's and breastfeeding and trying to do something different. And he's a great inspiration to me and many other people. And he will be joining us next fortnight to speak for Open the Doors, which I am so thrilled about. The speakers are such high caliber. It's all downhill from here, really. I don't know where to go because it was just so amazing. And learning and growing with them is just a real honor. So thank you very much. I think that's the end of the time. So what have I got to tell you? Volunteers. Just to remind you that all of us 10 people here, plus Gwenda, are totally unpaid for the work we do. We do it in between children needing lunch and dinners and work. And just if we're a bit funny on the admin side or we're going through the nuts and bolts, please be patient with us. I don't think if you paid us all, we could even come up with this caliber of what we're able to achieve. So it's all driven from pure love and wanting to see this system change. So bear with us with the IT department. Alan Power's coming. And if you are a person who is living with dementia and you would like to become one of our living ambassadors, not lived experience, you're not dead, as Gwenda reminded me, living experience ambassadors, please come forward. We'd love to have more people representing the cause, because we can only talk from our view, but we're not actually living and breathing with dementia every day, which is vital that we have your support and knowledge in this space. Thank you, Alwyn. That's it for this fortnight. We will see you, unless I've forgotten anything, Monique.
Yeah, Nicole, we've got Rhiannon just to jump in quickly.
Good.
And Susie had her hand up as well.
Okay.
So we can just grab those two things. So Susie, I might get you to unmute yourself first, and then we'll hand over to Rhiannon, and that'll be it for this week. You still there, Susie?
I'm here.
Yay.
Hi, everybody. I'm so sorry I'm late. I've been stuck in traffic and in LA, Los Angeles. So I'm so sorry. I will catch up and find out exactly what happened. But I didn't have my hand up, but I'll say hello.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Susie.
Your hand up, Susie. All right. Well, I'll pass over to you, Rhiannon, and we'll go from there to get on to our day.
Beautiful. I just want to say thank you to Mary for that amazing presentation about play and how fun and engaging it was for the first little activities that we got to do. Thank you for that. That was really awesome. So our action items and next steps. We now excitingly have 270 of us. So that's amazing. We are growing and we are thriving. As always, you will get the post-meeting recap newsletter, which will include the recording of today and this presentation. We'll also include delights and discoveries, so resources, books, and movies to watch. So definitely the one that Mary mentioned about the overweight brain. And we will have a link to the watch party for Rick and Susie for No Country for Old People as well. And as Nicole mentioned, Dr. Alan Power will be presenting in next fortnight, which will be on the 16th at 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We are also having Keys to the Doors coming very soon, which will be our dedicated meetings for the discussion topics everyone has been voting on. And as always, if you would like to present at a future meeting, please email us at otd@communityhomeaustralia.org. And Maury and I will be releasing the interviews with chats with caring creatives, perhaps the first one coming this week, so stay tuned for that. That's very exciting. And thank you. I think I'm handing over to...
Mary had her hand up.
Just a very quick thing. It can be in the roundup, but I just want to urge everyone to join the coalition. It's free. Your level of involvement is up to you, but it really is an important statement of support in what we're trying to do, and obviously all the ways that we're going to support all these efforts, including Open the Door.
We will put a link to joining the Reimagining Dementia Coalition as well. And can I just ask, if you want to do anything for us, this is your group. We're going to turn it to all of you soon. We've been plotting and planning behind the scenes. We don't want to make it about just us. We're going to give you all jobs. But if you could share our posts, send our messages. Some of you are, and we're so appreciative. We can't grow without you on sharing, inspiring. If you could become a bit of an OTD recruiter as well, join Mary's coalition, watch the webinars, watch Michael Verde's talks, buy Alan's books. It's all part of it. It's part of your growth, and it's part of you becoming the practitioner that you've always wanted to be. So please do get involved in that capacity, because it really, really helps us change the space. I can actually see the space changing on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I'm a very intuitive person, and I know this is making a difference. And if people want to copy us and steal the credit and do it in a different way, please do. Please do. So I can actually feel that. And I know Monique can feel it out there as well. So it is making a difference. I can only imagine what it's going to be like in a year time. So please keep sharing the message and don't give up. Use your voices, and we won't tolerate substandard care for our elders anymore. It's just not a thing. So thanks again for coming.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mary. Thanks,
Bye,
Nicole.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Pleasure.
Thank
Pleasure
you.
to be here.
Bye.